Welcome back. Tonight at the Renaissance Club, there will be a Kwanzaa celebration founded by Dr. Maulana Karinga. In his own words, Kwanzaa, in fact, speaks to the best of what it means to be African-American, to be African and human in the fullest sense. Given the profound significance Kwanzaa has for African-Americans and indeed the world African community, it is imperative that there's an authoritative source and site be made available. Of course, this is Dr. Maulana Karinga talking about the relevance of Kwanzaa and his site. Interestingly, Kwanzaa, came out of Kenya, the paternal home of President Barack Obama. But we're here tonight, this afternoon, to talk about your event this evening. Carrie Fraser, youth activist and hip-hop artist and all of it, and of course, community activist and Parkwest Foundation Program Director, Sabaji Bright. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's begin. What do you have tonight, Carrie, and how significant is that?
Well, tonight we have a Kwanzaa celebration. This is our third year. It's going to be at the Renaissance Club, which is located in the Renaissance Center. Anyone is welcome to come. It's going to be a blend of families, students, different presenters. Saba's one of the presenters. Bankalei Thompson is going to be in the house, and so many more people. It's a blend of hip-hop, culture, Detroit, artistry, African ancestry, but more so, it's just a spirit of coming together as a family as we set affirmations for 2010.
Affirmations for 2010. I like that.
Yes,
Saba, what is your take? You will be one of the presenters. What are you presenting?
I will be speaking on one of the principles of Kwanzaa, which is faith, and it kind of encompasses everything that Kari was just saying. So each and every principle basically touches upon the basic principles, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, I guess.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say each year we focus on different people to give a presentation of what they feel the definition is. I think that many people have misconceptions about Kwanzaa. People think that it's a religious celebration or it's something that's just for black people, but it's more so built on families and from families to community. So we talk about our different definitions, and it focuses on all 7 principles, from unity to self-determination, cooperative economics, collective work and responsibility, purpose, creativity. Saba's presenting on faith, and just how we define that and move forward, especially right now in the city of Detroit. I think those 7 principles make up a whole lot of what we need as a foundation to stay focused towards building a better Detroit.
And when we look at it, actually, throughout history, there's always been principles, there have always been guidelines in terms of how we practiced our lives and what we do and what we stand for. But I think the question is, do we in fact, do we even allow these principles to manifest in our lives?
Well, I was going to say, I think that it all depends on where you stand as a person and then what you define it as. I think all of these principles, along with some principles that we may or may not believe can give us strength, can all feed into how we go about our day-to-day journey. Living the principles, the Nguzo Saba, as it's called, is something that we have to strive for daily. Dr. Karenga focused on many different traditions from many cultures throughout Africa to build these 7, as this is a 7 foundation of the first fruits to start your family. So it defines on where you stand on purpose. I think purpose and faith are 2 of the principles that generally stand out in self-determination. But along with that, creativity, cooperative economics, as we know, coming together and pooling what we need right now, especially in the state of Michigan, is something needed.
Saba, you out there as a community activist working with the Parkwest Foundation. I mean, what do you see in relation or against the backdrop of this Kwanzaa principles that we're talking about?
Yes, I think there is a very strong breakdown of families and family values that's being exhibited in the way our youth are behaving or in the way our families are lacking solutions, basic solutions, because those values are not being practiced. So I think educators and community leaders have to be very conscious about how these basic principles of purpose, identity is defined, how these values, I think the top 3 principles that I kind of feel are more important is knowing who one person is, the Kuchichaklia, which is basically the self-determination, and then knowing what a person's purpose is. So how is that done? Because there has to be time spent in a family or in a community for that to be realized. And then faith. Every person has to believe in something to have hope and possibilities. So that's like one of the things I think the top 3 of the 7 that I believe are primary principles that have to be consciously practiced by family, by individuals and adults.
When people show up this evening at the Renaissance Club, and of course I will be there for the Kwanzaa celebration, Kari, what do you want them to leave that place with?
Well, first off, I think as all of the events that we put together, get a chance to meet somebody. It's all types of people. I have a network of elders,
That's all
younger
true.
people, students, some community advocates, some pastors, some people within the Islamic faith. So get a chance to meet somebody you don't know. And from meeting someone you don't know, everyone's engaged in Detroit in community and family spirit. So that's the first thing. Get a chance to meet somebody you don't know. The second thing that you can do is you can say, okay, how can I take these traditions back to the people that I associate with? Some people may not have their whole family here in Detroit. So your extended family and the people you do spend time with, how can I take these principles to them and we can sit down and talk about these 7 principles amongst each other?
Yeah, Saba?
Yes, I think he's very true. I mean, he's very correct in terms of inviting people that are very diverse from different backgrounds, even when you look at those that are already on the program. So it's an amazing opportunity for people to come together and actually experience community, family, and also because of the way the program is structured, there's an opportunity to really hear different voices. I was just speaking with Jay from Jay Spades.
Yes.
You know, it's just a very diverse background of community activists, community leaders, just a lot of different family members. So
on the heels of Kwanzaa, on the heels of the event tonight at the Renaissance Club, I don't want you to tell me what your New Year resolutions are going to be, but what do you look forward to in 2010?
Well, this year, I think it's going to be a year of growth, as everyone says, but more so, the focus now will be the Hip Hop Congress, the general population growing, because I think that hip hop needs to take a bigger stance throughout the whole city of Detroit. I want to be able to see the time and place where more artists can get the chance to expand outside of just music, but into different community-based events. So I'm going to be at the forefront of pushing that and making sure that more artists can represent what's happening in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And your 2010 as...
Well, I'm looking forward for our youth to take over. We've been really working with some of these principles, actually, with our Blue Babies. So we are looking forward for our youth to take on solutions that matters in their lives. So.
Thank you all very much for coming in. Kari Fraser and Sabah Jabrai. I will see you
for
tonight
having us.
at the Renaissance Club for the Kwanzaa celebration. This is my opinion. Against the backdrop of what you heard from the IRS and what you hear from these Kwanzaa principles, I think it's important that we realize that whatever decision that we make, we bear responsibility for it. And so as a community, as a city, as families, we cannot afford to make the wrong choices. We cannot afford to make the wrong decisions that will impact our future or impact the growth of our community. This is my opinion, and thank you very much for joining us on Center Stage this week. We'll see you next week with more editions of Center Stage. And of course, we'll do our big stories of the year for 2009-2010.